Huh.
Hello, I'm back. So I've got this piece of veneer. I cut it off of the width of this one and then shortened it accordingly. So it's been, I just took a little sanding block. This happens to be the block I use for resetting necks down in the dovetail. So, I think it's about, gosh, I think this is about a 60 grit, so it moves it pretty quick. Anyway, I just kept working the ends. Well, I cut it roughly. I split it off of the longer piece, and then I cut it roughly to length. Gave myself enough room that I could work these ends in individually, and then just kept shortening it up until it fit in correctly. So it is in there. It fits nicely, actually. The I don't know, if I had a heated pipe, I might try to bend that a little bit and match that radius, but it bends easily enough that I believe by the time this all goes together, things will work out just fine. I'm also going to, I gotta get this up where you can see it, also going to, I'm just going to do a dry run on it right now. So pretty much that is, I'm going to go like that, and when I do it for real it'll have glue on it. I'm going to pop it in. Actually, I was thinking about going the other way, but it doesn't stick the other way. So, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get it in, get it lined up tight on this edge, run that down, make sure it's in, run this down. So now I have it taped into position with, well, when I do the glue up, it'll have glue on it. That looks like there's a gap there. So we'll peel that back, take a look. Nope, just a little hump. So the idea is that now the glue is pretty much not going to be a problem. So I don't have to worry about getting glue on anything else. I'm going to put the piece of veneer left over right there, and I might actually glue that down just so, or tape it down just so I don't have to hold on to it while I'm trying to go to the next thing, which is, we're back to this thing, the steel spacing. I'm going to actually take a second and show you what this is. I keep referring to the nut rule or nut scale, and that's just a Stumac spacing, string spacing rule for when you do nuts. I even use it on bridges. I think a lot of, probably all the factories, I don't know, they just do like a, they don't try to like do the even spacing. I should say tempered spacing. This is not just even center to center on each string. This actually compensates for the thickness of the gauges as they go up. But anyway, like I said before, it bends really easily. I'm using it in this type of situation. I am putting a strap over this, and I'm probably going to wrap tape before I really tighten this thing all down really well. I'm going to wrap tape on the ends of this roll because I don't want to scratch the guitar, although this isn't going to get it down to anything. So I'm going to have that. I'm going to put a pad in here under the buckle on the clamp. I'll tape it into position too so I don't have to have all my hands involved. Well, maybe I will go ahead and just do that right. Okay, let's okey-doke. I have a piece of we call it grippy. It's that same thing I was just taping down on the other end. I'll pull a little piece out here. This stuff, And if you, like on the other end, because I'm going around the neck heel on the other end of the guitar, so it wants to pull the strap down. So I have a piece right up on the upper bout, and as I tighten this up, that should actually keep the band from slipping down that way. I'm going to have to move that up. Okay, so what I'm trying to just figure out with all this in here is if this is going to actually pull that patch down in there right. And it's one notch away from being right where I want it. You can't see this, but I can. It's right down in this notch where it belongs. That's going to work out really well. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and glue it up and put it back together. And I don't see why I shouldn't just go ahead and leave it running. Alright, so there's some slack there. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put a little tape on the end of the roll. Okay, take that off. I'm using Type Bond here. I was originally thinking about using hot hide glue just because I like the way hot hide glue cleans up better, but this is going to get all sanded out and stained and blended, so I'm not seeing a huge advantage. And I'm doing the ends, and I'm going to have a lot of mess on top of the guitar when this is done, but I'll scrape it all back and go from there. I don't like that at all. I'm running around the other side, getting another piece of tape, getting my water bottle. Got a paper towel in my hand. I'm back. I'm going to smear that glue down in here and wipe it off with the guitar body. It never goes as smoothly with the camera running. Okay. That thing went in there a lot better dry. Wow. There it is. It's in there. I'm sure it's good. Okay, and we're going to do the veneer over top of that. And the rule over the top of that. And we'll come in with the band clamp. Okay. Paralleling this band up to the top of the guitar so it's not coming up on the sideways. Feels pretty good right there. Looks good there. Alright, I think that's all we're going to need right there. And that's it. Alright, we'll come back when this thing's dry and sand that out. So we can get this radius smooth, and then I'll glue this top piece in, and then we can route against the side of the body to trim that back, and then we'll just have to do our binding channels, purfling channel, all that kind of stuff, and get the rest of it put together. So thank you guys. Bring you back in a Bring you back in a little while later. All right, it's the next evening. Let's pull the clamp to see what we did. All right, feels pretty good. I'm going to take a I don't know what that is. I don't think I scraped up there, so it doesn't feel gooey. I'm going to take a razor blade. I'm going to get a fresh razor and tape the corners, and or at least the corner, and scrape and try to get some of the glue off. Then I'll go to a pretty fine sanding block at that point and sand that in. Then I'll sand this down to the face, and we'll start thinking about getting this other piece for the top glued in. Then I'm going to spend some time fiddling with some stain colors on some scraps of each of these woods here, and so that's going to be going in there. Find a color that will blend on the top and also over here. All I really needed was some Scotch tape on here. This green painter's tape's a little heavier than it really needs to be. I might have hit that with the razor before, up here where it's dull. And I didn't take and bend a burr on this. I don't want it to be that aggressive for what's happening right here. turn you off for a second while I go collect stuff, and I'm gonna just pare this down a bit with a chisel, get it closer, and then I'll get the sanding block together. But you don't need to hang for all that. Okay, so I took this little sanding block here, the beveled one I use for neck resets down in dovetails, and I went ahead and pared that down with a chisel, and then I just sanded this off, so it's all flush on the face now. This piece drops right in, right where it should be. And this is 320. Once I get this all blended in, 320 is fine enough that after I figure out what colors I'm doing things, I'll check it. Alright, ran out of battery. Don't know when that stopped filming even, so I'll repeat this. Hopefully this urethane is thick enough on the finisher that it won't burn through into the mahogany past the color, and so that I can just have to be dealing with the piece I put in as far as making sure the color blends. If I burn into some other mahogany and it's a different color than the blend from the piece I'm putting in here, then I'll have to be touching that up with a different color, and so hopefully I won't burn through. And this is 320, and that should be plenty fine enough for staining the new piece of wood in, and then I may need to grain fill. Okay, I'm going to scrape that some more. I've got a high corner here and I don't want to keep burning finish off. Lay it around and just work the new piece of mahogany. Anyway, you get the general idea with what's going on with that, so I'm just going to keep working it. And I'll bring you back in later after I get this all blended in. Like I said, hopefully I will not be down into the below the color in the existing mahogany. Bring you back later. Alright, so I've been doing some experimenting. I have the color tones. I have quite a few different colors in color tone. This one that I'm using is red mahogany, oddly enough, right? I don't even know if you can really see the color the way the angle is set up here. But I tried to mix, this bottle's leaking. The cap cracked on this thing like the day I bought it, which has been quite a few years ago, so I've always just kept some tape around the lid, trying to keep it closed up, so it's probably actually dried some over the years. It still seems to trickle out fairly well. Tried mixing some into some urethane, and it just didn't mix. And according to the back here, you can add the concentrate directly in any amount up to 1 ounce per quart. And this is a 2 ounce bottle, I believe. Yeah, so half of this amount. You can't see this, but anyway, 2 ounce bottle. To shellac, solvent lacquers, water-based finishes, or catalyzed varnishes or lacquers. So I know it'll melt in lacquer because I've used it in lacquer for years. I tried to get it, since it said catalyzed varnishes, I tried to put it in some urethane. It just doesn't do anything. It just kind of balls up, and when you can kind of mix it in, but it still just kind of balls up. So at the end, there again, not sure you can see this. I'm not full on the, and I'm going to back this out. It might work better for this. So I'm not sure. From the angle I'm looking at the screen, I can't tell. Anyway, this was the first. This is just urethane on the wood, just to see what it looked like. And then next to the red on the guitar, and it's definitely way too brown. Then I did the urethane on this end that had the suspended red mahogany stain in it, and it got a little redder, but not much. Then I went ahead and made some up in some shellac, and just did a quick once over with that there, and it's quite a bit redder. Actually, I think that if I were to urethane over that, it would look very, very good. So I am going to do some grain fill here, and I will bring you in for I'll leave you out for a moment. I'm going to do some grain fill here, and all I'm going to do is mix it in. I have a little bit of just regular old Minwax wood filler, and I've got the little dab of red mahogany in some shellac, and I'm just going to piddle that into the filler, mix that up, and then I'm just going to smear that on here, let that dry, and then sand that off. I did take this to 400, so all these scratches out here are 400 grit scratches that are out in the existing finish. When I start urethaning over all of this, that'll all blend in. Anything I don't even need to urethane over, like out here, I probably won't even bother. We'll see. Just have to see how it goes. I may shoot it. I may just try to brush it on and sand it back, and brush it on, sand it back until I get a nice flat coat. Not sure what I'm going to do yet. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up some of this into this paste. See if this Minwax wood filler is kind of weird. It has a very dry consistency to it, so I'm thinking that maybe with this stain and shellac in it, it'll actually go on better. And so that's what I'm attempting to do here. And it's not really going to be contingent on staining the wood as much as staining over, it's suspended in the sealer. So I kind of got a bunch of gunk here. Just do a little bit. It doesn't look like it's gone in real well. It's one of those things that may not work, but that's why we call it an experiment. I am going to throw some more of that shellac on this, and thin it out some more and color it some more, actually. Yeah, this particular filler from Minwax is very strange. It's very coarse. I got plenty of red on the end of my finger, so definitely staining some stuff. And I think I'm going to use this as a scraper. I don't have any denatured alcohol, which is what you thin shellac with, or Everclear, but I don't have any alcohol of any sort. So that's filled, and I'm just going to leave that, and I'm going to let that dry, and tomorrow I will sand that back off, take 400 back down to the surface, and then that'll be going to be as far as I go with that until I get this top patch on. I just wanted to have a nice smooth surface here so that when I come around here to trim the top off, it'll be riding on something that's straight and consistent. So that's that. I'll bring you back in later on.